Welcome to Diamond Solutions for Mathematics. Today we are discussing mathematics geometric progression of 11th standard. Here is an application question for geometric progression. If the fifth term of a GP is 16 and the 10th term is 1 by 2, find the GP, also find its 15th term. GP, geometric progression. Let A be the first term and R be the common ratio of the GP. Here, shuffled terms are given here. Fifth term of a GP is given as 16 and 10th term is 1 by 2. First of all, we have to trace the GP. For that, A be the first term and R the common ratio of the GP. Therefore, nth term is defined as Tn equals A R raised to n minus 1, where n belongs to n with natural numbers set. Here given fifth term is 16, therefore T5 equals 16. That is A R raised to n minus 1 means A R raised to 5 minus 1, A R raised to 4 equals 16. And 10th term is 1 by 2. That is A R raised to 10 minus 1, A R raised to 9 equals 1 by 2. These two equations we have to consider. A R raised to 4 equals 16 and A R raised to 9 equals 1 by 2. Here it is a geometric progression, therefore we have to divide the T10 by T5. That is A R raised to 9 by A R raised to 4 equals 1 by 2 by 16. That is T10 by T5. That is A R raised to 9 by A R raised to 4 equals A R raised to 5. A and A cancels. R raised to 9 by R raised to 4 equals R raised to 5. Equals 1 by 2 by 16 means 1 by 32. 1 by 32 in exponential form, 1 by 2 the whole raised to 5. 2 raised to 5 defines 32, therefore 1 by 2 raised to 5. Therefore R equals 1 by 2. That is A R raised to 4 is 16, that is the first equation. There we can substitute A into 1 by 2 raised to 4 equals 16. 1 by 2 raised to 4 defines 1 by 16. Therefore, A into 1 by 16 equals 16. That is A equals 16 into 16, 256. Thus we traced A equals 256 and R equals 1 by 2 here. Therefore, the GP is first term A 256, next term 256 into 1 by 2, third term 256 into 1 by 2 square. That is 256 to first term, second term 256 into 1 by 2 defines 128, and 256 into 1 by 2 raised to 2 is 256 by 4 equals 64. Thus we traced first three terms of the GP 256, 128 and 64. So that the GP is defined using the first three terms. Therefore T15 equals, we have to find out T15. Find its 15th term. T15 equals A R raised to 14. That is, A is defined as 256 and R is defined as 1 by 2. Therefore, 256 into 1 by 2 raised to 14. 256 is 2 raised to 8. 2 raised to 8 into 1 by 2 raised to 14. That is 2 raised to 8 by 2 raised to 14 equals 1 by 2 raised to 14 minus 8. That is 1 by 2 raised to 6. That is 1 by 64. Hence, we can define, hence the required GP is 256, 128, 64, 256, 128, 64, etc. And T15 is defined 1 by 64. T15 is 1 by 64. Hence, we can conclude this question by here. Subscribe Diamond Solutions for Mathematics for easy and tough questions in mathematics.